Christopher Ward sent me another watch, but will I rate it higher or lower than the last one? Watch this video to find out. That was such a newscaster intro. Okay, so this is not a very bold watch. This is a very subtle watch, both in size and in color, based on the configuration I chose. The proportions are basically perfect for what I would want in a watch. I don't like big watches, I don't like thick watches. So 2 ticks there. It wears basically as I expected, but a little bit better. It sits on the wrist lovely. And one of the things I love about Christopher Ward is for most of these watches, you can choose strap color and even strap stitching, depending on how you look at it. So I went for this configuration because I was torn between getting a gray strap for this gray dial or the brown strap. And I went brown because I wanted to draw attention or have contrast between the dial and the strap. But if Christopher Ward had like physical boutiques I could go to, I would definitely try this on a gray strap in person to compare. I think the message this watch sends to people as you're wearing it is, I'm into my watches, I'm quite serious, but I do have fun sometimes within strict parameters. It is quite a flexible watch. I do think you could wear this with a suit and also t-shirt and jeans. I think for the right person, it is a daily wearer, especially if you work in a corporate office job that is a bit less serious. Think less accountancy firm, more IT manager. Now, here are the specs, yada, yada, yada. You guys know I don't find this very interesting. Okay, and into some pros and cons. There is slightly poor legibility of the text at the bottom at most angles. Not a major con, but a con nevertheless. My major con is one of the main parts of this watch, the hour markers. Now, I've always been a dive watch hater. And more than hating dive watches, I think the top of the list of things I hate in a watch is perfect geometry. I hate circles, squares, triangles, straight lines. I hate it so much. Like, it's visually jarring, and so I am always steered towards watches that have flowy lines, that kind of stuff. The only rebuttal to that disliking on dive watches is that divers in dark depths of the water need to be able to see the hour markers and the hands. So I have nothing to say to that. So I was confused to see these things on a watch that is less dive inspired, but more field or desert inspired. Quick read of the site led me to realize, okay, you still need to be able to see in the dark when you are in said field. So that makes sense. I don't like it, but it makes sense. It is still the main shortfall of this watch for me. And the list of positives is still longer. The finishing of the texture, which is the most important part of this watch and the theme of this watch, is done almost perfectly. I think when I looked at images of it, I thought, look, the watch is quite expensive. When we're comparing it to some AliExpress offerings that have textures on them, are we really getting more for our money here? But on a spectrum from super duper textured and grainy all the way to where I think this could have gone very wrong, a very polished dune texture, this sits in the perfect middle ground. It's brushed in some way, but not shiny. It emulates the dunes it's inspired by pretty well. And it's done in a way that I feel won't go out of style. The brushed and polished texture going along the case is also, I think, perfectly chosen. And I also like the kind of indentation between the bezel and the mid case. I think it gives dimension and character to the case of this watch. And I do like the way at certain angles, the outline of the hour markers are highlighted. I also love the case shape and the crystal. As much as I prefer flat crystals because of legibility and not distorting the edge of dials, for this, it makes the shape of the watch curvy in a great way, in my opinion. It gives it almost a pebble shape, perfect for skipping across a lake. Wow, poetry! And it's that pebble shape that contributes to the way it sits on the wrist. I'll say it again. It has an open case back, thank goodness, and the finishing of the movement is, of course, high level, as we expect for this brand. Now, if I dressed the way I would love to be able to dress, think corduroy, think dress shirts, think smart casual, but for guys with a slimmer profile than mine. I think this could be a daily wearer. I think this could be a timeless thing in my collection if it was mine. But as I am not that person, this isn't a daily wearer, and I think is more of a statement piece. Something I would wear on occasion at the right meetings kind of thing. I don't know if it would fill a particular space in my collection, but there are definitely people out there I would strongly recommend this watch to. Overall rating, 6.75 out of 10. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, YouTube thinks you'll like this one just as much. Have a great day.